Welcome back, my friends, to AA Recovery Interviews. I'm your host and producer of the show, Howard L., and I'm an alcoholic. Sober since January 1st, 1988, one day at a time. I'm grateful you've joined us. AA Recovery Interviews is the podcast where Alcoholics Anonymous members from around the world share their timeless and extraordinary stories of experience, strength, and hope. On today's episode of AA Recovery Interviews, we dive into the chaotic and inspiring journey of Ray G. For years, known by his nickname of Crazy Ray, he wore it like a badge of honor for his booze-soaked, drug-addled behavior, a reckless lifestyle that so many of us in recovery can relate to. Raised with 7 siblings, his childhood was remarkably stable. Instead, his inner storm grew from a deep-seated feeling of inferiority, fueled by being the shortest kid in every grade in school. Alcohol and drugs became his perfect escape, masking those insecurities even as he built a successful business and career. But you can only outrun the chaos for so long. As the DUIs piled up and the walls closed in, Ray faced a stark choice: serious prison time or a 2.5-year stint in a treatment facility. That facility opened his eyes to what sobriety could be. It still took a few more painful failed attempts, but Ray finally hit his last shot at redemption and surrendered to Alcoholics Anonymous. Today, by staying grounded in the simple steps of the program, Ray lives a life of maximum service. So get ready for an incredible hour of AA Recovery Interviews with my good friend and brother, Ray G.
My name is Crazy Ray. I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Crazy Ray. We'll get into finding out a little bit more about Crazy and Ray, but so that's your nom de plume in AA. That's interesting. You know, I've known some folks over the years who have used nicknames or that sort of thing, and I'm curious as to how did you get the moniker Crazy Ray?
All the chaos that I'd created, not beknownst to me that I was doing a lot of irrational stuff or stupid stuff.
Yeah, I get that.
And so, and the next thing I would say is that there's 2 things about AA that I've liked. Is I came into AA not because I wanted to, but because I had to.
Right.
But on the other note, I was able to drop all my baggage of my library and let somebody review it and give it back to me.
I get it. It's a good way to look at it. Have others take a look at your baggage and give it back to you with suggestions for cleaning it up and settling down. We're conducting this interview on a ship not too far from where we're going to be ported for the day in Cozumel. And Ray, you and I met in the Friends of Bill W. meeting, of which there were only 3 of us this time. More will probably come out later. But we're both on a cruise, and the Friends of Bill W. meetings I find them pretty important when I'm on a cruise. How do you feel about it?
I feel that the need to be able to meet other people from different locations of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that gives me a better knowledge of actually not only their life, but where my life is and how to improve it.
Yeah. It's almost like having friends wherever you go.
Alliances, allegiances, opportunists to be able to make sure that you can extend your sobriety.
Yeah. To safeguard it against any dangers that may occur while you're out traveling around. I found that when we were in London recently, I had the chance to go to a live meeting that's the original meeting off which a Zoom meeting formed. And I've been going to the Zoom meeting all this time, and I'd never been to the live meeting. So when we went there, my wife and I made special effort to go to the meeting, and it was just superb. And people there, everybody wants to take you out and show you the city and everything else. It's just such a wonderful connection that we have. Now, what is your sobriety date?
My sobriety date is 1/26/06.
1/26/06. So we're talking about 20 years now.
Yes, sir.
That's pretty amazing.
It's been, it has been amazing. I've been able to gain a lot of health back,
Yeah.
uh, but also gain friends in the process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People I never knew,
Yeah.
you know. When I first started, there was some, I call them legacy, 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
When I first started, there was a guy named James A. would come to the meetings, and I was just a newcomer.
Yeah.
He would come to the meetings and bring me sayings that he did when he was a newcomer.
Mm.
He used to save them under his glass table,
Mm-hmm.
and he would bring them to me and give them to me. He was passing it forward.
That's great.
It was wonderful because he had cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So after I think I met him, and about 5 years later he passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
But he would always come to our meeting on a Saturday
Mm-hmm.
at noontime. But he would make it a point to impact me.
Mm.
You know,
So he kind of took you under his wing when you were new,
when I was new.
and he stuck around until he passed.
Uh-huh.
Must have made quite an impact on your life.
He really did. And there was another guy named Ralph V. He passed away in October. He had 48 years.
Wow. I think I knew Ralph.
Yeah, you probably
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
And so when I first started the program, I met Ralph at the Cathedral group.
Yeah.
And him and I hit it off, and there were times that I was in need,
Mm-hmm.
and he would go into the courthouse with me,
Mm-hmm.
or he'd go and so my mother, age 91, so she was my savior.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she was the only one that would step up and help me, meaning not financially, but making sure that I would get the money to the attorney when needed.
I get it.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, and it was, some people don't understand what the blessing is of having parents that care.
Yeah, it's something that I like to talk about and get to at some point when we're speaking
Mm-hmm.
about the connection between what we saw, what we knew, what we understood, what we misunderstood as children, maybe even as adolescents, that kind of formed the mold of our futures to come. What was your family of origin like? What was it like growing up where you grew up?
So we grew up in a family of 8.
Uh-huh.
And so I was the number 5.
Uh-huh.
So we had six boys and 2 girls. And so I didn't know that we were poor.
Yeah.
All right. There was not a need for anything. We lived in a subdivision where it was types of families.
Yeah.
So what we didn't really realize, there were some days that we were prejudiced, but we didn't think about it. It didn't impact us, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that I was Hispanic until later down the road. And it was, we were fine with that. But my early life was, there were some pictures of me and my brother we were in cloth diapers playing in dirt at age 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
And we were happy as pigs in slop.
Yeah.
We had no idea, right? So growing up, I was short and petite.
Yeah.
My whole life, and I didn't think that impacted me. But yet, when I was young, I didn't feel it. When I got older, I felt it.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
And so, but it didn't. I didn't really take it as a negative, right? I looked at it as an opportunity. I think 5 or 6, and my mother took me to a hospital downtown, Texas Children's at the time, and we were going to look at a potential operation. We went through this dark hallway underneath to another hospital, right, that had very few lights. And they were going to look at extending my legs.
How the heck can they do that?
They were going to actually sever and extend, put growth in there. But they found out that my maturity in my bones was too far along.
Oh my!
But yet I'm so glad that didn't happen.
Yeah,
because I could be crippled today.
Yeah,
these were those beta test sites to see if it would work.
You know, my folks did something like that to me. Nothing quite that severe, but I remember when I was an adolescent, and I was definitely vertically challenged as a kid. Always the smallest, or one of the smallest, and my folks seriously looked into some physicians who dealt with different types of growth hormones and that sort of thing. And after growing up and hearing how dangerous those things were, I'm glad that they didn't do that. How were things within the home when you were a kid? Was it peaceful?
It was with 8 kids in a 4-bedroom house, it was really challenging, right? But it was nothing major. I mean, we didn't have any curricular activity between my mother and father, so we were okay.
They got along all right?
Yeah. They were married 60 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And there are days, just like everybody else, there are days that you have challenges. But then you're raising 8 kids. So back then, you were limited to what the kids could do. I guess the most important thing is that we were loved.
Outwardly, and you didn't have to feel an implied love, making it up on your own. They were actually telling you they loved you and that sort of thing.
They told me they loved me when they told me to wash the dishes.
Oh yeah, I get that. Yeah.
We call those chores.
Yeah.
But if you didn't do the chores, you would be loved by a belt.
Over and over when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting. I think you and I might have mentioned when we met yesterday that the interviews I've been doing with people, it's always amazed me. So many interviews, when you go back and you look at the childhood, you can see the direct linkages between them as alcoholics and people with some real intense problems today. But the people who had happy childhoods, it somehow never made sense to me as to how those people became alcoholic. And I asked one of my friends who I did an interview with, I said, you came from this happy home, you were successful in school, you were supported by the folks, everybody loved you, and I said, how the heck did you become an alcoholic? And he said, well, I drank too much beer. And that was such a stark answer to a question that I had infused with so many ideas on what life might be like in a happy home. Sounds like your home was somewhat like that.
Yeah, we didn't see a lot of drinking in my house. No, it was always external. I don't know if my dad couldn't afford the drinks, but when they went out with themselves, they drank. But they was never really at the house. But my downside or upside, whichever you want to call it, was that I was trying to find me. I could be somebody else when I was drunk. Okay, I could be somebody else when I was doing, this ego we call the ego. I'm a overachiever, underachiever, because I'm always, sometimes those people pleasing things get in the way. I felt that I needed to do this to be somebody.
The people around you were doing it?
Yeah, everybody was doing it.
Yeah.
But the issue is that when I got out of high school, I didn't go to college.
Mm-hmm.
I went and got a job at a draftsman detailer, structural. And at that time, I was making, this was 78, 79, I was making $800 a week. Right?
Big money back then.
Huge. It was so much money that I had a condo on a lake, right? And I had a new car, and I would travel back. And that's probably part of the problem is that I had, at that time, I'd never seen that much money in my life. And so it became a burden where I had to please people, bring people together, right? And so that's what started occurring. I started the company in 1989, and my dad was a upholsterer. he started his company in 1951,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how he supported us. When I started my company, myself and my dad became very close.
Mm-hmm.
He used to call me at 7 a.m. just to see how I was doing because he wanted to hear somebody else because he worked his whole life.
Yeah.
They may have taken one trip in their whole life that I can recall.
Yeah.
Right. So they were committed, not by choice, but by birth of all these children to support them all. My mother stayed home with kids. So we had the upholstery business behind that. One of my brothers got into the business. Everybody else we were always helping, doing something, but we didn't actually get into the business. And nobody wanted to take it over except my younger brother. He's a year younger than I. He went and took it over, but he wasn't committed enough to work hard. Just like I got into drugs and alcohol.
When was the first time that you took a drink on your own volition?
I was working at a supermarket, and I must have been 16. I took a pint of black velvet, and I put it in the storage area, and I would go sip on it while I was working, right?
Uh-huh.
By the end of the day, I was drunk.
Uh-huh.
And I had to walk home because I couldn't drive. So that was the first time I recall that I had drunk a liquor. So, yeah.
How often did you do that and get away with it?
When I was younger, I didn't do very much. I had an uncle that lived next door to us. He took me under his wing as someone that he would want to mentor. He was much older. He was a very bright individual, and he used to put together radios with the tubes and everything else.
Oh, yeah.
He would do all that. He had a wealth of knowledge beyond his time.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But he couldn't function with people.
Yeah. He was good with things, but not with people.
He was good. It was good. His mind was immaculate.
Yeah.
He was smart. And back then, I don't know if this is. He got into the alcohol binge, right?
Yeah.
And so in his life, he didn't want anybody to tell him how to do it, what to do. He was smart.
Yeah.
To the point of having a high IQ. But then alcohol got in the way. His job was working at a cleaners,
Mm-hmm.
right? But that's the only job that he could get while he was drinking, right?
Wow.
But he was highly intelligent.
Too intelligent to be a drunk.
Too intelligent to be an individual.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get it.
Nobody could relate to him because he was beyond the knowledge of the basic person, for lack of words.
Did he recognize that in himself?
He knew that.
So he was vain about it, or?
No, I think he kept it to himself, but he knew that everybody knew he was smart, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But the issue is that he drank.
Yeah.
So he passed away of cirrhosis of liver.
Yeah. How old was he when he died?
He had to be 50, maybe 45.
Oh.
Yeah, he was young.
And how much? He was your older brother?
No, that was my uncle.
Oh, you were talking about your uncle. Okay.
Yeah, but my brother was a splitting image of my uncle. My oldest brother, my first brother, he was highly intelligent also.
Yeah.
Very, very, in high school, he became a weightlifter, and there was only two of them.
Uh-huh.
And it was him and my other cousin.
Yeah.
They were doing weightlifting on a regional and national basis. But they were so sometimes when you're highly intelligent, you can't relate to other people, you know?
Yeah.
Because you're talking so far in advance
Yeah.
that people can't catch up.
Yeah.
And that was my oldest brother, and that was my uncle too, and that was my cousin. So they were really bright, you know, and they would speak. It's like, why do you speak that way, right?
Yeah. When he was older and drunk, and people in the family would talk to him. Obviously, they had grown up with a guy who felt like he was special above everybody else.
He
What
was
was
alienated.
So he was alienated. So would you say that he drank to cope with his feelings of loneliness or being alienated, or did he have other reasons for wanting to be drunk?
I think it was coping with being lonely,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
And everybody always called him a drunk, but he was so bright.
uh-huh.
Nobody ever, maybe he was hiding his strength and knowledge.
Mhm.
Right? Call me whatever you want to. I don't care. But then again, back then this was in the 50s, early 60s.
Yeah.
Uh,
What kind of experience did you have, and how did that relate to alcohol?
in high school, uh, I was, I guess I had a grudge, you would say.
Yeah.
I was short,
Yeah.
shorter than most people.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and so I didn't really feel it,
Mm-hmm.
but I sensed it. But other than that, I mean, it was just high school. It wouldn't, I didn't make any true friends, and I didn't find anything of value, I guess is the word,
Oh,
to be able to hold on to there.
yeah.
So,
How did alcohol factor into that? Either as a solution or a way out.
it was more of a way out.
Yeah.
That was the deal. Is that I didn't need to be what everybody else was.
Mhm.
I could be Superman under drugs and alcohol.
One of the things when I was in high school, I too was short, and um, I found though that I could get along with a lot of groups at the same time. I was not a member of any group because most of them didn't want me, but because I did certain things that made people laugh and so forth, they the different groups would, yeah, I was like the class clown, you might say.
Comic relief.
Right. And I had to do that because, otherwise nobody paid any attention. But I didn't start drinking until I was out of high school. Did you do a lot of drinking while you were in high school?
No, not much.
No. So what's next in the Ray G story?
So what was next is that leaving high school, uh, went to the workforce, and that's where I found alcohol. There was nobody there to regulate me. I saw the people smoking and drinking, and I thought, man, but I never did pick up smoking, but I did pick up drinking.
Were there drugs involved at
What
all?
was the drugs involved?
Yeah.
In 1983, I was pulled over and taken to jail. I ended up going to a drug treatment program,
Hmm.
but it was also drug and alcohol.
Was that the sentence?
The sentence was yes.
Yeah.
If I wouldn't taken the sentence, I would have gotten potentially 10 years
Wow.
TDC. I was a continuing issue.
Yeah.
So the first time was 78, or maybe, 78, 77. So it was the best thing for me.
Yeah.
And I stayed in the drug treatment program for 2.5 years. When I got out, I was good. I didn't drink. I didn't do anything. Right?
Yeah.
Until later on, I started drinking again. And so this was probably 96, I don't know, somewhere in that ballpark.
So you actually lived at
The drug treatment program for 2.5 years.
for 2.5 years
It lived in.
as the alternative to 10 years in prison,
That's correct.
right? And what was your thinking when you were having all these DUIs and everything else that happened to you? You went to court, you came out, you went, whatever sentences you had or whatever. What was in your mind at the time about this time will be different, or I've learned my lesson, or did you just brush it aside and say that's doesn't make any difference? I mean,
Well, I thought I learned my lesson.
yeah, like each time.
Because I knew that sooner or later that if I didn't do what I needed to do,
Yeah.
I could have been back there,
Yeah.
you know. Yet it didn't at the time. I didn't think about it. It was that normal process of, Ray, it's okay. It's okay that on one side I had the guy that says it's good. On the other side, I had the guy that says, do what you want, you know?
Yeah.
And so I follow the do what I want to do.
So what did you do when you got out of?
I actually didn't go back to drafting. I was, went to work for a company that conducted seminars, more of motivational speaking. So I was a good candidate, to put it that way, because I was already disciplined enough to understand that I had to have changes. And I stayed with this group for 4 years, 5 years. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about communications, about discipline, about understanding who you were and how to promote yourself. And so that helped me also.
Was that the essence of the training program? Was it a motivational type?
It was a step program. You do this, you do that, you do this, but it was motivational. It was for sales consultants.
I was in sales for a number of years, and the whole thing is believe in yourself, believe in being good and honest, and taking care of your clients and all that other stuff. But at the end of the day, where are the numbers? Where are the numbers? I was the nicest guy all day long, but where are the numbers?
You're correct. It's about that. It's about what have you done for me today? And after that, I went into sales for a small mom and pop company selling telephone equipment. So I did that for about 1 year, 2 years.
How old were you at this time?
So I was 32. I started the company at age 32.
What motivated you to do that?
Well, I saw the opportunity of the industry and the potential money. I saw the people making money, so I thought I could do the same. And it was about building relationships, building networks of relationships.
Right.
And so I did that I did that 2006 was my last. So I had that company. I built it up, and I had a contract with the city of Houston, and so it helped me from 2001 to 2007.
Like an anchor client.
But it was also somebody that could be respected if I needed a third party referral. Yeah. Right. So I directly, and we did. I sold it. I had the guys put it in. We developed it. It was work.
So tell me about the role that alcohol was playing in your life during these years, and how it either inhibited your growth or aided it.
It aided it by allowing me to converse with people and set up meetings.
Yeah.
Right. And I would sponsor things, but it was always drinks there. Right.
Different type of sponsorship.
Yes, but it was always about drinking.
Always about drinking.
Mm-hmm. I call it like golf. You build relationships through different avenues, and one was alcohol.
Now, when you were doing these events, were you partaking while the people around you were?
Yes. So, you have to be part of the end club. You have to understand that if you sit there and don't drink, you're not part of them. But if you drink with them, then they become as one.
Yeah.
So that's building a relationship.
So you did that for how many years?
Till 2006.
So that's what you were doing on the job. To what extent was alcoholism playing a role off the job?
I was doing it off the job, for lack of words. I mean, that was every night. But then again, that was part of me developing relationships with people, taking them out to drink.
Was it every night till you were drunk and passed out, or was it just every night and you were able to quit at some point?
I mean, I was able to stop and maintain for the next day. On weekends, it was an onslaught. I would start Friday night, drink through the wee hours, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, and then sleep all day, and then do it again on Sunday. But then again, I got into a predicament. I was a sponsor for an event, and I walked out of the restaurant, got into my vehicle, and hit a person on a motorcycle. Didn't do anything. Yeah. didn't damage him. It hit the back of his wheel. He was standing there. He fell out. It was at a stop sign.
I get it.
Right? But he was stopped, and
Yeah.
he was going to go, and he didn't go, and I
tapped.
tapped him, and he fell over.
Fell over.
And so, but he wanted to make sure that I waited there until the police came.
Yeah.
So over a span of 20 years, that was my third DWI.
Oh.
They enhanced it.
What do you mean by the enhanced?
So what they did is they used the event that it was in 83 and 96, and then enhanced it to a felony. And so
That's prison time then.
that is correct.
Oh boy.
And so I had to get somebody of elite caliber to spend the money to keep me out of jail again.
Yeah.
So I didn't go to jail. I got probation for the second time.
And this is after the first time where you got
The first time was
sentenced
10-year probation.
Yeah, you got sentenced to the treatment program.
Yeah, the first time was 10-year probation. But in that same time, I caught another case, and then I went to
The treatment program.
Yeah, rather than going to it. But then this 2006 event was my last hurrah.
Huh.
So, but I was very fortunate that I was able to receive, again, probation. It's all based upon relationships and people knowing people.
You knew the right people. It's interesting how the knowledge of being able to finagle the system and knowing that if you spend enough money on the right legal counsel and the right people, that somehow you're immune from the other things that people face when
they don't have the capacity.
They don't have the capacity
to be able to do that.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. My friends, if you're enjoying my AA Recovery Interviews podcast, check out my latest audiobook, Alcoholics Anonymous, the story of how more than 100 men have recovered from alcoholism. This is the word-for-word, cover-to-cover reading of the first printing of the first edition of the Big Book, published in 1939. It's a relaxing and meaningful way to listen to the Big Book anytime, any place. Have a free listen at Audible, Amazon, or iTunes. While you're there, enhance your program with another audiobook I produced, Lost Stories of the Big Book, 30 original stories missing from the third and fourth editions of Alcoholics Anonymous. It's an engaging audiobook that brings these stories to life for AA members who've never seen them. These timeless testimonials were originally cut to make room for newer stories in the third and fourth editions. But their vitally important messages of hope are as meaningful today as when they were first published. Many listeners will hear these stories for the very first time. Listen to a free sample of Lost Stories of the Big Book on Audible, Amazon, or iTunes. It's also available as a Kindle book or in paperback from Amazon if you'd like to read along. You're gonna love it. And we're back.
So you got off with 10 years probation.
And I got off. I got another in 2006. I got a 4-year probation.
4-year probation. So they 2006 was when this last accident happened. Okay. So we're talking about 20 years ago. We're pretty close to where your sobriety starts.
That's correct.
Must have scared the you-know-what out of you, huh?
Well, I knew the alternative was not going to be good either. But I was blessed that I didn't kill anybody. There was a time, and I was driving a vehicle. I was so drunk, I hit the back of a dump truck. And I got out and sat and waited on the curb. Issue that they didn't see me in the vehicle. They couldn't give me a DWI.
Right.
So I just sat there waiting to come.
Would you get a PI on that or?
Nothing.
Yeah. So despite the fact that you'd already had enough for felony, this
I personally think the officers didn't want to go through the challenge of paperwork.
Yeah. Sometimes it's worth it. Sometimes it's not. I get that. Yeah.
And so, but I had too many times that I could have taken my own life.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's a plan. I don't know what the plan was, but I mean, after the last time, I didn't want to have anything to do with alcohol whatsoever.
Yeah.
I knew that it was my downfall, and it would continue to be my downfall.
Yeah. To what degree were drugs involved during this time? You said you did both, but
Yeah, I did both. At the end, I didn't do any drugs. I did alcohol, straight
okay.
alcohol.
What was happening on the home front during these years?
I was devastating the home front.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife was at her wit's end. She was tired. You know, the sad part, I was a bread bringer, so she had really no place to go, and that's my fault. It wasn't a design. She was raising a family.
Yeah. Did was she outward in her feelings about it?
Oh yeah, it was horrible to a point where I was trying to do my own thing, and she was trying to keep me from doing my own thing.
Yeah.
You know, because it was taking food off the table. Every time I had to hire an attorney, it was $20,000-$30,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and so it was sucking the blood out of us.
Yeah. And you have how many kids?
I had three.
Three. And you mentioned about your son.
My son passed in 2011.
To what degree was your alcoholism or your budding? Well, it's not really budding at this point. It's full blown.
It's full blown.
I presume. But to what degree was it being noticed and responded to by people around you? I mean, it seems to me that when we're alcoholic or drug addicts, it was in my case, I would surround myself with people who were like that.
Mm-hmm.
And even if they weren't like that, a lot of times they're enablers. They say, yeah, okay, Howard, you drink, but you're not like our old friend Joe over there who's a real alcoholic. And that buys you some time in screwed up thinking.
So what happens is I surround myself with people like me.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody's yes man. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. I learned a lot about things that I shouldn't do and things I should do, but I kept going the wrong way.
Oftentimes, women will leave their husbands over this.
Correct.
What did you face any of that during your marriage? You said you were married
for
36 years.
I faced it multiple times.
Have you?
But she never left. Right? It would left for a week, left for 2 weeks, and the problem is that I didn't support or didn't help the situation. So I got to a point where, I was doing whatever I wanted to do. It didn't matter what she wanted to do. And so it really put a sword between us. To this day, she reminds me of things that I did back then.
Yeah.
Which I have no idea what I did,
That's tough when you don't remember what they remember.
Mm-hmm.
And what they remember is always usually a lot worse than
what you think it was. Yeah. You said, "Oh, well, it wasn't that much," but but to them, it was horrendous.
Have you ever thought about what your life would have been like had she left you? It might have hastened your journey to recovery, or would it have just made your life worse, do you think?
That's a big question. The problem is it never occurred that way.
Right, but a lot of times, for people you and I both know, sometimes that is the last straw. And the last straw either breaks the camel's back or it doesn't.
That's correct.
Right? And then you slowly unload the camel over time. But if she had said 5 years into your ordeal or 10 years in or after all these things with drunk driving, listen, I can't handle this anymore. I'm out of here.
It's really crazy. That old adage is that people marry people like their father. Okay, that's what I was. I was just like her father. All right, so he had the same issue. And so the problem is that some people get in a cycle and they think that's how life is supposed to be, but it's not supposed to be that way. And I remember her dad and his issues, and back then it was much more horrendous. When they were growing up, the issue was fighting every day. So, but I mean, and that she has to live with that. I can't change that.
Yeah.
Yeah. To this point, I got to change myself continuously. I need to strengthen my support within me because there's nobody else to support me except me.
Yeah. As part of your story, it sounds real familiar to me. I know I've mentioned it on the podcast in the last number of years, but it was kind of the same way where my wife's father was an alcoholic. I mean, and had been in and out of AA, mostly out. When I first met my wife, I remember going over to meet her parents, and it just so happened it was his fourth anniversary of sobriety.
Mm-hmm.
He slipped shortly after that. He never got sober again, and ended up dying, an alcoholic's death.
Mm-hmm.
And but I remember whenever it was that she would bring up my alcoholism,
Mm-hmm.
I would say, "You've got me confused with your father. You hated how he was, and now you're accusing me of being like him." And it always was a convenient way out of that particular argument. And she dealt with it as a little child,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
So did she.
yeah,
And so she was the oldest of the bunch. So she had to take the children out the window
yeah.
while the husband and wife, her father and mother, were beating each other.
Oh man, yeah, yeah.
So it was a real, some of those things that baggage you can never drop off.
There's so much trauma, so much that stays with you for the rest of your life.
It's the hate, it's the untrust, it's all the things that you've been through are part of the story.
Yeah.
The story doesn't go away.
So maybe part of her willingness to stay married to you and never threaten to leave is that did she ever leave her parents?
She did. She left to get away. And then her mother and dad split up. And so she was helping her mother, and her mother was helping her. They got back together prior to the mother's. The mother came and lived with us. She was getting of age, but she also had medical problems. She worked on an assembly line for Nabisco, but she worked there for 25 years, and not once did anybody ever tell that assembly line team that they were working under asbestos. And so she had, that whole group that worked there didn't know. They were just working, right? They were workers. But in the meantime, everybody got contaminated with it. So it impacted her lungs,
Mm-hmm.
her life.
Yeah.
Not knowing, right? Not knowing.
Mm-hmm.
But no management, nobody ever mentioned that situation.
Was it lung cancer?
It was lung cancer. It was multiples, right? So there was a class action lawsuit almost after her death, or right at her death, that they resolved.
Yeah.
But,
I seem to remember that vaguely. So your wife stayed the course with you. She has enjoyed 20 years of your sobriety versus 16 or so years of your.
But the 16 years and the 20 years, I mean, it's never forgotten.
Yeah.
Okay, never forgotten.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how. I'm a different person today from my sobriety. I am more of a person that sees things and says things.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not positive.
Right.
Because I'm trying to do what's best for me and her.
Right.
Right?
Right. Yeah.
And so there's always a challenge. Sometimes you can change people and sometimes you can't.
And sometimes you just have to go with the odds. What are your odds of getting through a marriage with all this stuff going on?
Oh yeah,
with alcoholism versus staying the course, and then one day the alcoholic decides that he is going to stop drinking, and he actually does.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes things start to fall apart, and the wheels start to come off around the time that
they were coming
off because of that last court appearance.
Mm-hmm.
That scared you enough to stop at that point.
So financially, I become bankrupt, for lack of words, because I was spending all my money on alcohol. Then I had to spend all my money on attorneys.
Oh boy.
Uh-huh. Yeah. One attorney wanted $50,000 in 2006 to defend me.
Oh.
I walked into the courtroom and I raised my hand, and they asked me who it was, and it was a well-known person, right? And the lady came running out there, and I would never forget this. The things out of her mouth, she says, "Well, they didn't tell me you were coming." So, and I told myself, well, I didn't know I was coming either, right? And then we reset the case, and I waited for my document to sign.
Yeah.
And I had to wait to the very end. And she comes out there later and she says, well, you haven't been to the office yet.
Yeah.
But check 1, check 2, check 3.
Yeah.
You know, but I had to go another way because I couldn't afford that. I not knowing what it was before I said yes.
Yeah. So yours was a different type of financial ruin. Yours was a prospective ruin. And plus, probably the next time anything happened, if you violated your parole, you would have been behind bars.
Oh, yeah. I went to, it was really crazy. I was financially strapped trying to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes as an alcoholic,
Mm-hmm.
you have an ego problem. You don't want people to tell you what to do or how to do it.
Right.
And so there were numerous times I spent 30 days in jail.
Mm-hmm.
Right. She didn't revoke my probation. She just gave me 30 days, 30 days, 30 days. Minor things, right? I wasn't supposed to drive.
Uh-huh.
So I drove. I drove to my probation officer. He was looking outside. He saw me get out of the driver's seat, right?
Oh, brother.
And then when I get up to the probation, he says, how did you get here? He's looking out the window. Oh, my wife. I says, who drove? She did. No, you're lying. I saw you walking out here. Handcuffs.
30 days?
30 days.
How often did that happen?
3 or 4 times, maybe 5. I don't know, 4 times. But it hit the pocketbook.
Right. I get it.
Because I couldn't do anything. You know, I couldn't conduct business.
Yeah, I get it.
And so, but those things, you know, you never forget those things.
I'm sure, and they have a lasting effect.
And, you know, it's really crazy. By the time I had completed my process, right? And, you know, she remembered me.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I'm downstairs. Hey, I'll be there in huh? I'll be there in a few minutes.
Okay. And we can finish it up here.
And so I learned so much. It was really crazy, right? And so I know a lot of people, right? And so I was at some events where she showed up.
Oh boy.
And I says, do you remember me? Right. And so she saw me commingling with people, right, of higher stature than her.
Yeah.
Right? It literally floored her.
And this was after you got sober?
After.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we're up to the point at which you get sober. What did you know about AA?
I didn't know anything about AA.
Okay. So how did you arrive at the front door of AA?
So I was told to go to AA for 90 meetings in 90 days.
Okay.
I started off, I could not drive. So my wife worked downtown at the time. So we would take the downtown bus from Park and Ride and go downtown.
Was it that she didn't drive? Or she did Park and Ride to go?
She did Park and Ride to go downtown.
Okay.
So I did Park and Ride to go downtown because it was not cost effective to park.
Oh yeah, I get it.
Okay, and so we did that for 6 months maybe. Mm-hmm. So I would travel with her. I'd office out of the Hilton Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Out of the lobby there.
No, at 8th floor. I had a. So I worked under the Hurricane Task Force.
Oh, okay.
And so we had access to the 8th floor or 16th floor, but 23rd floor, where we'd have office space, and we would just sit there. Uh-huh. And from there, I'd go back to my meetings and come back. Uh-huh. And then when she ready to go home, we'd go back home together on the Park and Ride.
Yeah. And
so I did 90 meetings in 90 days, and that's when I met Ralph V.
Yeah.
And Ralph V was truly my savior. I didn't know him from Adam, but we hit it off. We had relationships. We had conversations. We had, he actually had to go to court, had to go pick up a check from my mother that I gave my mother to give to him to give it to my attorney because my wife hadn't wanted nothing to do with any of this.
Yeah.
Right? She was in the middle of her mother being sick, the kids being raised. So I didn't, so I gave it to my mother to give it to him. And he picked it up and went and gave it to the attorney in the courtroom.
Huh. Wow.
Mm-hmm. And so we built a relationship, and that was where my foundation for AA started.
Yeah. How soon did he? So you were without a sponsor for the first number of
Oh yeah,
months.
I personally didn't. I didn't really get a sponsor for this whole time. I mean, I hung around with people that had years.
Yeah.
Right. So they would just tell me. I would just listen to them.
Yeah.
I didn't need a sponsor because I had them. I had multiples.
Yeah.
Right. 30, 40 years. I mean, that's the best you can get.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then just standing right next to them, living the life that they led in sobriety, helped me support myself.
Yeah.
So I didn't need a sponsor.
Yeah.
So it was a unspoken word that they were my sponsors.
But Ralph was what you would consider.
He was my second dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was his second son too.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty strong. For somebody who doesn't want to label what you were doing with sponsorship with multiple people and kind of spreading out sponsorship across a wide swath of people. When I asked you about sponsor and when you talked about Ralph, and I met Ralph over the years, and he was an amazing guy, and he helped a lot of people.
He did.
But when you very first said Ralph, I thought, that's great. And every now and then I'll meet someone. I had a guy I was sponsoring one time. He said, I want you to be my sponsor. I want you to be part of my sponsorial board. Mm-hmm. And I said, listen, I'll be your sponsor. And if you want to talk to other people about other stuff, just do it. But if you need somebody with whom you can have complete confidence and trust and not have to worry about the relationship, then I'm your sponsor. And that worked out pretty well over the years. And he never did approach me with the idea of, you're telling me to do this, Howard, but so-and-so over here is telling me to do something different. Mm-hmm. Usually that didn't happen.
No, generally what I did is I took, this is the challenge, is that back when they got into sobriety, right, it was a different world.
It was, yeah.
And they were, Ralph and James, those guys, they grew up in the hard knocks, hard world. It was tough. And there were days that I thought, Ralph, you're too hard, right? But he was hard for a purpose.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Knowing what he had been through, knowing the challenges, he was just doing it because that's what he knew. That's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
Right? They're not people like that. It's hard to find, follow my lead, this word, right? And I would think, well, don't worry about crosstalk. No, this is how we do it.
Yeah.
This is how it's done. This is how I was taught, and this is how we do it. Till his dying day. Whenever he was in a pickle, he would call me. I would show up.
That's the beauty of those relationships. If they grow in that direction of friendship and brotherhood, and
it was.
You mentioned he was like your second dad, and you were like his second son. That's so encouraging to hear. When you came to AA for the first time, when you were going to meetings, what was going through your mind as you were sitting through meetings for 90 days?
I went to the meetings that were not hard. So the downtown meeting, we had a lot of attorneys. All this high ego stuff, they wouldn't get to the root of the issue. And so I needed to get to the root of the issue, so I had to go somewhere else. I got tired of the smoke and mirrors because that's what got me into where I was at. I've learned that there's a different world, and it's been good. But it was a challenge. Ralph and I would travel together all the time since I wasn't able to drive. We had a friend that was in a pickle. We were going to do an intervention. This guy was downtown at a condo downtown, which would mean we had to get access from the security of the condo to see if they could open up the door. We didn't think it all through until we got there, and I said, Ralph, I don't think we can do this. If we do this and go through all these iterations, And then the police officer shows up. They're going to arrest him. If they find something in there that shouldn't be in there, he'll have another case. That'll be on us. That person ended up moving back home so he could get back to sobriety.
Is he still sober?
Yeah, I think so. The issue is that we were at the 9th level of this thing. I'm thinking, we don't really have permission. I mean, once we do this, right, and security goes up there, they're going to call police.
Yeah, everybody's going to be in trouble.
Everybody. You know?
If nothing else, it's going to screw up the rest of your evening.
Well, it's going to screw up the rest of his life because we don't know. So we're just trying to save him.
So as you look back on your sobriety years, the last 20 years, can you think of a few keystone events that occurred that were pivotal in terms of of your sobriety, where your sobriety did save the day of either you losing your marbles or getting institutionalized or going back to prison? Can you think of a few of those occurrences?
You know, there was a lot of occurrences. It was, it goes back to the impact of my dad and my mother. Nobody ever understands those relationships. You want to do something better in life. You want to be able to scale up, move forward. I was doing that. I was falling backwards. Those were the structure that I knew that I could depend on. My mother, 100%. Out of the 8 kids, I was the only one that had the real true problem. Yet my younger brother, 1 year older, he was my security guard, knowing that people were behind me to do what I needed to do. I couldn't fail anymore. I couldn't fail them. I couldn't fail me. I couldn't fail my family.
You mentioned the death of your son during your sobriety.
2011.
Yeah. How did the program come into play during that time for you?
Well, it was people that knew me that were alcoholics came around, and they attended my son's funeral, and they said, we started, and we're here for you. If you ever need anything, call us, right? And there was multiples. There was a guy that was, and there's really, it was the biggest thing is that this person was a big guy, and politically, business-wise, all the above, right? When we were putting my son in the hearse, he puts his arm on the back of my shoulder, or hand on the back of my shoulder. He says, Ray, this is hard. He says, but we're in a club of our own. And I didn't know what that meant. Come to find out, he lost a child, which that's the club. So Ralph V lost a child. So we were in that same club. So Ralph V used to go to his sons, to my sons. So those are relationships that just, you don't know. They build and fortified what I'm here for, my sobriety.
Yeah. And the fellowship undergirds it all.
It's because what I did is I became the small mini me of all the big boys.
Yeah.
The big years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I was just following their lead. So Ralph V had this Saturday weekly meeting for 24 years. I would attend that one. It's because it was there was the same people coming with the same problems every week. You knew them by name. You built a relationship. It's 5 or 6 people that they're there. Everybody in that same group.
Yeah.
Okay. We are family. Sometimes we get 3 or 4 people, but that's okay. Wherever there's 2, there's a meeting. And we have 6. We can count them, the people that are always there.
Yeah.
And so it's the same people over and over and over. And the thing was, Ralphie passed away in October, right? He told me before he passed away, he says, Ray, continue on with the meetings. So now it's my group. Oh, it's wonderful.
They pulled you through when you've needed it.
Mm-hmm. And I woke up at the end.
Yeah.
And so now we have this meeting every Saturday, and I haven't been there for a while, but I was there. But I know it's going to be there, right? And everybody else is in this group of 5 or 6. They're taking a piece of the role, but they all knew that the relationship that I had with Ralph was over and above all relationships all of them have, and it's okay.
Yeah.
So
So it sounds like that alone has been a big part of your sobriety.
Oh, it has been. That meeting there has been everything. It's because the story I tell is that I come to AA to drop my library of things that I've collected over my years, to have them cleansed so I can pick them back up and take them with me again.
Yeah, that toolkit of tools that's maybe got a little dusty or rusty gets cleaned up and shiny and
they rebuild them.
So what does your program look like today? Now that you've gone through what you've gone through during your 20 years, what's next?
It's really crazy. There was a person that wanted me to be a sponsor. I think to myself, I mean, sponsorship is a challenge. And so as a sponsee, you're still not ready. Okay? You're still trying to figure out how to do it or not do it. Yeah, right? Is this for me or is this not for me? Well, I don't want to spend a lot of time for that anymore. Yeah. My time is becoming, right? Yeah. So I need to concentrate on me to make sure. But yes, I'll help somebody else on the way. Yeah. But if it takes too much time, that's too much time that I don't have.
Every minute we spend with somebody who doesn't want it is a minute denied to somebody who
that wants to do it. At the end of the day, that guy passed away maybe a month and a half ago, because he went to a friend of mine that's in our group, right? And I didn't know that, because he must not heard what he wanted to hear from the other guy. So he wanted to jump around. He was looking for somebody to, hey, look, it's okay.
And they're, people that we know together, and here we are in a big ship, and we connect on a lot of different levels. And, every now and then you look for the presence of God in the moment. And when I mentioned all this to my wife last night, she said, well, it sounds like you and he were meant to spend some time together and get to know each other. And there's no telling what may or may not occur in the future.
Yeah, I just learned that, to me, big meetings, they don't do it for me.
Yeah.
Because you hear a lot of stuff that...
Well, the thing about big meetings for me, and I go to a couple of really large meetings, is that they're more about the fellowship, I think, sometimes, than they are about relationships.
The stories and relationships.
A smaller group. And so that's what I like about them the most. And takes on a small group type feeling when the same guys get called on every time. And that's because guys who lead the meeting, they don't want to look like they don't know everybody, so they always call on people they know, and it turns out to be the same people. I'm very much into the let's let everybody get the chance to share.
That's what it is. So everybody needs to have time to be able to voice where they're at in life.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
And if there's too many people and you call them the same people, those people that really need it, don't have a voice. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
They get lost or go somewhere else.
I want to thank you for doing this, Ray. It's really marvelous to be able to meet somebody and immediately have a connection.
The coincidences that we've had.
See you again on the cruise.
We'll be around.
Okay, brother. See ya.
Well, my friends, that's a wrap on another episode of AA Recovery Interviews with Howard L. My sincere thanks to Ray G. for sharing his experience, strength, and hope, and to you for listening. With hundreds of thousands of downloads worldwide, AA Recovery Interviews has become a growing collection of real-life stories from AA members who have found a new way of living through the 12 steps. If this episode touched you, please tell someone else about the podcast. You never know whose life or recovery might be changed by a story they hear. You can hear this and hundreds of other interviews at aarecoveryinterviews.com or wherever you listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, YouTube Music, and other major podcast platforms. You can also tell Siri, Alexa, or your smart speaker, play AA Recovery Interviews podcast. And if you enjoyed the show, a rating or review is always appreciated. A quick word about the podcast. AA Recovery Interviews follows AA's 12 traditions and General Service Office guidance concerning anonymity online. I personally cover all production costs, and no one receives financial compensation from the podcast. Neither I nor my guests speak for or represent AA as a whole. This podcast is simply my way of giving back to AA what was so freely given to me. The next episode is already on its way. Until then, keep coming back and keep carrying the message.
one day at a time. I'm Howard L. Thanks for listening.